Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Here are your hosts, Mike Spaulding and Julia Fellow.
Here we are. Wow, right after a great win. Nothing was going on for ever, and then in the 8th, my goodness.
The game was
zooming. Could you imagine what Craig Counsell might be thinking right now?
He's probably that guy will get one tomorrow.
I don't know.
They can get their first win over the Brewers this season, and Counsell or Pat Murphy will be managing at that point. So maybe he was just saving up the win. He was suspended today. So we had Ricky Weeks as manager of the Brewers today.
Yeah. I wonder if Craig Counsell still lives in Whitefish Bay. If he still has his house in Whitefish Bay. I used to see him sometimes there.
Just had to run by. Inconspicuously, my morning
exactly.
jog is just going to take me by the former Counsell residence and see who's there.
I'll wave my little Brewers flag by his house. All right. We're going to get you all your top stories. Deb is here in-house. She's going to get your traffic, and we'll have weather. I'm going to give you your market update right now first, your WTMJ Annex Wealth Management market update. Everything ended in the green for the weekend. The Dow is up 450 at 38,675. NASDAQ up 315 at 16,156. S&P 500 was up 63 at 5,127. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. We'll be right back.
With all the positive Google reviews continuing to pour in for Rich Lawn's Tire and Service Centers, we want you to know we appreciate you.
You were due for service, we delivered, and then you went the extra mile and wrote a few kind words about the service you experienced.
Yeah, thank you so much. Michael, Glenn, Jeff, Lisa, Carol, Jason, John,
Wait,
Michelle,
hang on a second,
Ryan.
Dad. As fun as it may be to name every single person who's ever left us a Google review, there just isn't enough time. We get 60 seconds, and I'd say we've got about 28 left.
Ah, good point, Courtney.
Listen, we appreciate every last one of you for helping us maintain a nearly 5-star Google rating. And we're going to keep on shooting for the stars, especially when it comes to providing top-notch auto repair service.
Yep, and remember, be safe, buckle up, and hey, always make sure you've got good tread on your tires. Peter, Bruce, Samantha, Kimberly, Nick, Heather,
Oh,
Marissa,
Dad.
George, Jeremy, Diane, Brad, Paul.
Rich Lawns.
We find the best way to protect and uphold the reputation of our business is to hire good people and then take care of them. We really do love the people that work for us, and we care about what's in their best interest. And what that means to you is this: who do you really want on your job? Someone who's maybe underpaid or doesn't feel appreciated, might not have paid vacations or great work benefits? Our folks have all of these things and more. Vito and I make sure they feel appreciated, because happy people do happy work. There's a culture we're building here at Semper Fi that brings respect back to a very hard job. And that's why we know that our crews are going to do the kind of work that you expect. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
It's 4:28. I'm Julia Fellow. Your top story, a reset day in Mount Horeb.
I'm Mike Spaulding. Another presidential visit to the Badger State.
I'm Debbie Lazago. We've got a nasty ride right now. Southbound 43, you're riding the brakes basically from Good Hope Road all the way down past Hampton Avenue, all because of a broken down semi. Got stuck in the 2 right lanes, so you can only squeeze by in that far left. It's a nightmare. So if you can, avoid 43. Northbound's backed up too. That's pretty typical stuff, though, out of the Marquette all the way to the Keefe. Westbound on 94, watch for delays out of the Marquette all the way past Mitchell Boulevard. I'm Debbie Lazago with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight you have clear skies. The low will be 40 at the lake, 45 inland. Tomorrow, sunny. A chance of showers in the evening, though, and storms. 60 at the lake, 73 inland. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, another day of healing in Mount Horeb, with school buildings open to provide training and support and resources for families reeling from a near-school shooting. But it was thwarted. While investigations continue, a call for continued concern for one family.
Superintendent Dr. Steve Salerno reminding the community to have sympathy after a student attempted to enter the middle school with a gun but was confronted and killed by police.
It's not lost on any of us that we've lost a beautiful soul. our district. And there's a family that's hurting right now. And nobody wants this for their child.
Events scheduled for this evening will go on. Students will return to class on Monday. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
The district will add more police on school campuses and increase patrols in surrounding areas when the school reopens.
Here back in Milwaukee, the search continues for evidence in relation to the death of 19-year-old Sade Robinson.
Independent nonprofit Bruce's Legacy conducted another search of the Warnemount Park area Monday, near where Robinson's severed leg was found earlier in April. The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office says the Monday search yielded no new evidence. Meanwhile, the Sheriff's Office says rumors have been circulating online concerning the status of Maxwell Anderson, who's accused of murdering and dismembering Robinson. They clarified that at no point has Anderson been released from custody and that Anderson's family has not inappropriately entered his home. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Search efforts continue for missing toddler Elijah Vu. Two Rivers Water and Light, a Manitowoc Public Utilities, helped with searching manholes in the county, with the FBI wrapping up an aerial search as well. Police encouraging the public to help with their search efforts, but do not have any new information to provide on Vu's whereabouts.
The second meeting between student protesters and UW-Madison administrators ending with some tense moments. WISC TV's Maddie Heimish has an update.
One of the Palestinian protesters at the negotiation this morning withdrew from negotiations until UW admin issues an apology for Wednesday's events. Administration offered a phone call later this afternoon to continue negotiations later today and a meeting tomorrow with lawyers present.
4 student protesters were arrested Wednesday, booked on felony charges. They all had their hearings earlier today. Those student organizers said they want the district attorney to drop those charges.
In Milwaukee, more tents at the encampment on Downer and Kenwood at UW Milwaukee. Students say they will remain until their demands are met.
A far less understanding environment on the campus of UCLA and throughout the state of California. The American Jewish Committee and other groups are addressing anti-Semitic threats and what they're calling intimidation on campus as part of these ongoing pro-Palestinian protests. The American Jewish Committee's director pushing California Governor Gavin Newsom to create a state-sanctioned anti-Semitism plan. More than 200 students on campus were arrested overnight Wednesday as part of those protests.
Former President Donald Trump's hush money trial continues. The star witness today, former White House Press Secretary Hope Hicks. ABC's John Santucci says it was one of the more emotional days of the trial.
I think so far this has probably been really the most dynamic and frankly revealing testimony, in the sense that Hope Hicks has never spoken, but in some ways I think Hope Hicks was bracing herself, because you have to remember one thing about every person that has left Donald Trump's orbit. They have received the counterpunch from Donald Trump. Hope Hicks knows that. She orchestrated that for many years.
Court is done for the day and will resume on Monday.
Decision, Wisconsin. President Joe Biden is coming back to the Badger State. The president set to be in Racine on Wednesday, where he'll be delivering a speech and for another campaign event before heading to Chicago. No additional details right now on where the president will be stopping at this time. This marks Biden's 4th visit to Wisconsin this calendar year.
If trying to figure out what clothes to bring on a trip is way too stressful and takes way too long, you can pack up super tight for this adventure on the high seas.
It's an 11-day nude cruise. Scheduled to set sail from Miami to the Caribbean next February. The clothing optional trip is on board the Norwegian Pearl, which has been renamed the Big Nude Boat for the journey. You can bear it all on board, but there are some rules, like you have to wear clothes while eating in the ship's inside dining rooms, but there is a birthday suit allowed buffet outside. And if you disembark the boat on its stops to the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, and St. Martin, you must cover up. Prices for the nude cruise start at around $2,000. Stacy Lynn, CBS News.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law offices. One call, that's all sports desk. The Brewers picking up a W on Chicago's north side. They top the Cubs 3-1 this afternoon. Game 2 of that weekend series is tomorrow. Coverage on WTMJ. Bucks coach Doc Rivers, meanwhile, says he's already looking ahead to next season. This after a disappointing end to the season for the Bucks in Indianapolis. They fell in Game 6 last night. The NBA, meanwhile, reportedly investigating Patrick Beverley's exchange with fans during the Bucks' 120-98 loss to the Pacers last night. Beverley did not receive any discipline for his actions, which did include a slight tussle with fans, even threw a ball at some fans.
Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 4:35.
Hi, folks. This is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. With spring in the air, a young man's fancy turns to ceiling fans. And at BBC, he'll see all the best quality fans and their newest styles. The new fan electronics provide a great method of moving air, and with LED lights, they use less electricity than ever. We have fans in all sizes, from 24 to 96 inches wide, and their motors are warranted for life. At BBC, we advise you on the right fan for your needs, and our prices are the lowest. I guarantee it. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and on Saturday 10 to 4 and located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue across from Sobelman's and Bachman Furniture, all near the Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on WTMJ.
Well, it wouldn't be Wisconsin's afternoon news without the 3 at 3 now, would it? I know it's not 3 o'clock, but it is 4:36 and 33 seconds, so we got a couple threes in there. Regardless of that, though, we wanted to get to the three biggest stories of the day.
Super newsy this time.
Super newsy. We do have some new developments, at least on search parameters in Two Rivers for the search for Elijah Vu.
That's right. It's been 73 days, so haunting since this 3-year-old has been seen alive in Two Rivers. There's been disturbing places that people have searched over the past few months for the child, including a garbage dump. The FBI stepped in. They did an aerial search in Manitowoc County. And today they searched manholes throughout Manitowoc County, trying to find possible remains. Vu's mother, more concerned with getting out of jail for the second time, saying there's too much at stake and too many unanswered questions that she had to stay behind bars, according to a Manitowoc County judge. Her boyfriend, Jesse Vang, also charged with child neglect, was the last person to see the child alive. They are not charged in Vu's disappearance. So it's so sad. Just the case is so sad. The child's so beautiful, too.
Second story, a little bit more uplifting in Racine. President Biden set to visit the Badger State.
That's right. On the heels of the former president, Donald Trump's second visit to our state this year, right in our backyard in Waukesha, President Biden is making his fourth visit to the Badger State. This time to Racine, this is what we know. He's going to hold official remarks and then a campaign event. Exactly where he's going to be in Racine has not been released. But again, it is next Wednesday. So everything shuts down, Mike. You know that. So I don't really know where he would land, where his Air Force One would be.
My guess is Mitchell. You know what? That's a really great question because he's going to be in Chicago later in the same day.
Right.
So do you fly into O'Hare Airport? I can't imagine you want to shut down I-94 both directions in the middle of what could possibly be either morning rush hour or afternoon rush hour. So my guess is probably Mitchell, head south to Racine, back to Mitchell, then down to Chicago. But what I got to thinking of this afternoon, this is the third consecutive week, I believe, that we have either a member of the White House or the former president in town. 3 weeks ago, Vice President Kamala Harris was here. This week, former President Donald Trump was here. Next week, we get the president back in town. We're not even in June. We're not even midway through May, and it already seems like we're in the midst of full on campaign season. So if this is any indication leading into November or leading into what July is going to look like with the RNC
oh my goodness,
and the DNC in Chicago, it's going to be crazy. So we'll provide as many updates as we can as we get closer to what we know when the president will be doing when he's here and where exactly he will be, because yes, things do shut down.
Yeah, he could take Marine One.
He could take Marine One, absolutely. Well, yeah, if you're the president, you can probably get up and out of an airport pretty quickly, is my assumption.
There you go. All right.
And here at home, the long-awaited sports book opening up at Potawatomi Hotel and Casino today.
The grand opening today for the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Confetti was released. They had a temporary sportsbook for more than a year. The construction is over. When I was a reporter for the past year, we were trying to get access inside to see what was going on. We got a little bit of a peek, but now they're seating for more than 200, a huge sports bar. The sports book features a massive TV screen. Think of like a movie theater. Think of IMAX movie theater. Huge mega screen. And a live broadcast studio that ESPN.
Yeah, our sister station, 94.5 ESPN, got to visit. They've been doing an all-day broadcast out there today. It looks beautiful. If you've ever been to Las Vegas, you said it. It's a really big deal, and it looks just like you would if you were at one of those hotels in Las Vegas. The TV screens, the way the book looks, it looks really, really cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. And then also it's going to be open 24/7, Mike. Restaurants, new restaurants, VIP seating, and also there's a new high-stakes poker room that also opened today. Those hours will be 8 a.m. to 4 a.m. So I think, pretty much 24/7. I mean, who's not going to be there?
I do want to let you know, though, if you are looking to put some money down on some ponies this weekend with the Kentucky Derby, you will not be able to do so as of yet.
What is that?
I don't know. I don't know if there's something regulation-wise, or maybe it was too late to get something on the books. I honestly don't know, because this is just the grand opening of the space. This isn't the first time you can participate in sports betting at Potawatomi. So I'm unsure why you're not able to, but they did want to get that out there and let people know, hey, if you're going to show up for a Kentucky Derby party, you can do so and order a mint julep. You just won't be able to put any money down, at least not this year.
Gosh, it would have been perfect timing. It is 4:41 on WTMJ. Coming up next, the Trump hush money trial is underway. There was a huge emotional event that just took place with one of the witnesses. We have Royal Oaks ABC News legal analyst coming up.
This is WTMJ's Steve Scafidi. We often talk about public safety on my show, the Political Power Hour. It is now that time of the year where we recognize those who go above and beyond their duty. If you know a first responder in your local community that exemplifies this kind of bravery, you can submit their story to WTMJ.com, but do so soon because we're closing entries by May 12th.
It's Steve Scaffidi's Salute to Service, presented by Waterstone Bank and sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Race fans, start your engines. It's time to make summer plans for fast family fun at Elkhart Lakes Road America. Experience 11 major races from vintage weekends to IndyCar. And new for 2024, Grid Life. Bring the entire family for affordable fun with on-site camping, free parking, and free admission for kids 16 and younger with the paying adult at the gate. See the full race schedule at roadamerica.com. Road America, America's national park of speed.
Spring fishing is finally here, and Fleet Farm has everything you need to reel in more fish this year. Upgrade your gear with the best brands like Rapala, Berkeley, and St. Croix. Find exclusive flicker sheds you won't find anywhere else, starting at $12.99. Get rod and reel combos starting at only $24.99. And shop our wide selection of fishing line that starts at just $4.99. Land top fishing gear and everything else you need for everyday life at Fleet Farm.
Sleep apnea is a serious condition. And the worst part about it is, because it affects you while you're sleeping, you don't know what this condition is doing to you.
And it was scary because I found out that I was waking up 145 times an hour. 145 times. I was scared. I wasn't getting the sleep I needed.
And that's the thing. Someone like John wakes up after thinking he's slept all night, and he's been feeling run down for years, and finally finds out something really is wrong. This is why, for us, solving sleep apnea problems is so gratifying, because we really are changing lives.
I've had more energy. I'm getting better sleep. I've been told from my wife I don't snore, but honestly, it changed my life.
This is Dr. Madan Kandula. Solving your breathing triangle problems means a better quality of life, and you deserve that.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage, available at Navage.com.
There's no better place to celebrate Cinco de Mayo than the original Botanas, with cervezas and 20 different margaritas. Voted the best Mexican restaurant in Milwaukee in 2023. Celebrate Cinco de Mayo all week at the original Botanas on 5th Street.
Traffic is sponsored by Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee. Milwaukee Mattress, where top quality mattresses are priced hundreds less than premium national mattress brands. Found exclusively at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, and downtown Milwaukee.
traffic and weather. Let's get a look at the roads with Debbie Lazaga.
All right, more problems on 43 southbound. First of all, we've got a broken down semi just about at Glendale Avenue. This is just south of Hampton. It's got the 2 right lanes blocked, so that's backing things up pretty much all the way back past Good Hope Road. It's going to be solid. And then a little bit further on, 43 southbound at about North Avenue, we've got the right lane blocked with looks like a broken down motorcycle. So that's going to be tying things up as well. We've got northbound backing up from Fond du Lac Avenue all the way up past Keefe. We've got also some delays along the bypass, southbound from Beloit Road down and around the Hale. And then the westbound side's backed up out of the Mitchell Interchange all the way to about Forest Home with that construction delay. I'm Debbie Lazago with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, there's going to be some rain. The low will be 53 degrees. Tomorrow will be partly cloudy, but mostly sunny. The high will be 65. Sunday, mostly sunny. The high will be 62. Monday, partly cloudy. The high 62 as well. Tuesday, scattered thunderstorms are possible with a high of 75 degrees. The current temperature in Milwaukee is 64 degrees and sunny.
I was very interested in what took place today, but I just have to say, we have a country to build. We have to rebuild it.
Day 11 of the Trump hush money trial. That was the former president speaking outside of the courtroom following testimony from his former spokesperson, Hope Hicks, who took the stand. We have ABC News legal analyst Royal Oakes, who joins us. Royal, thank you for being with us.
My pleasure. Yeah, big day in the trial. Hope Hicks actually had a very emotional day. At one point, she broke down in tears during the cross-examination by Donald Trump's lawyer, and it was capped off a very interesting first 2 weeks in the Donald Trump trial.
Why was she crying? All I see are sketches of her crying. What happened?
You know, it's funny. Usually when a witness gets emotional and needs to take a break, it's because they have just undergone some very rigorous cross-examination. But she actually broke down at the start of a session. The court took a break. She went back on the stand and started talking about the fact that she was working in the White House, and she just started crying. But bottom line is the DA wanted to put her up, even though they know she's pretty friendly with Donald Trump, to show that when the Access Hollywood tape came out during that 2016 election, it was just total panic mode within the campaign. So the DA's goal is to try to demonstrate that Donald Trump would just do anything it took, legal or otherwise, to make sure that multiple sex-related stories got buried.
And in that, there's an email that they pulled up, and it said, deny, deny, deny. That's what she was writing in an email to someone in the Trump camp. What do you think impression that had on the jury?
Well, you know, it's funny. When the Access Hollywood tape came out in the first few hours, the reaction by the Trump campaign was, as you say, to deny the whole thing. And then it became clear, they did some quick voice analysis that, yeah, it was Donald Trump's voice, so they could no longer deny. Instead, they came up with a pretty clever approach. One, apologize and say it was a foolish thing to say. And number two, but it's nothing compared to Bill Clinton. He actually did assault women. And then Trump invited 3 of Clinton's accusers to attend the debate against Hillary Clinton. So that was the context. But, you know, the interesting thing is all of the stuff we're talking about is kind of irrelevant to the heart of the DA's case, which is that Donald Trump knew that the records were being falsified and that he was trying to break the campaign laws by not reporting the $130,000 they gave to Stormy as a contribution. But the fact that he is allegedly a groper and a liar and a philanderer and a payer of hush money, that doesn't establish either of those legal violations. Instead, the next couple of weeks will be critical when Michael Cohen, of course, testifies, and he presumably will help the DA by saying that, hey, believe me, folks on the jury, Donald Trump knew the records were being falsified and he was breaking the law.
Yeah, Royal. I mean, Hope Hicks was the I don't want to say main event. That sounds a little too theatrical for a criminal trial, but she was the big name today. But the testimony is far from done. Do we know what the next couple weeks are going to look like? I'm sure we're still waiting on some big names.
We are. And the big name, of course, is going to be Michael Cohen. And the problem for the DA is that there is no smoking gun document that we're aware of that helps prove that, in fact, Donald Trump knew about and was involved in the idea of falsifying corporate records. In fact, it's kind of counterintuitive because most CEOs don't have a lot to do with general ledger entries and other corporate records. And so what's going to happen is that Michael Cohen is going to give his side of that story and say probably, well, he and Trump sat down and Trump admitted that he was breaking the law here. Trump will say the opposite. The last 2 weeks, David Pecker, Hope Hicks, showing how desperate Trump was to hush things up, that is going to sort of soften up the jury to make them think to themselves at the end of the day, well, everybody may be lying a little bit. We really think Donald Trump was lying. Therefore, even though Michael Cohen isn't exactly a model citizen, he's not Mother Teresa, he was convicted of lying, perjury, and so on, we're more inclined to buy the Cohen story than the Trump story.
Royal, the former president spoke as he walked out of the courtroom again today, as he has most days after the trial ends for the day. Any sense of whether we might get the former president on the stand at all?
You know, there are two schools of thought on that. One school says Donald Trump does what he wants, doesn't matter what his lawyer advises. The conventional wisdom is the lawyer will say, do not testify under any circumstances, but he may just say, I'm not going to take the Fifth Amendment. That makes me look weak, and so he will testify. The other theory is, no way he's going to testify. He will be convinced by the phalanx of lawyers that the absolute worst thing he could do would be allow the other side, the prosecution, to use his testimony as a highlights reel to reiterate all of the allegedly bad stuff he did. He just will look back at the defamation trial against E. Jean Carroll, the trial in which he testified. That's the one where he lost $83 million. When he didn't testify, he only lost $5 million. So it's a guessing game, but at this point, if I had to bet, I would say no, he will not testify. His lawyers will win the day.
Very interesting. ABC News legal analyst Royal Oakes, thank you so much for joining us.
You bet.
I appreciate it. Also, prosecutors, Mike, did ask whether if Trump did take the stand, if they could question Trump if he testified about those 9 violations of his gag order. And the defense lawyer was asking the judge to bar any such question, and today the judge sided with the defense. All right, that's it for the week of this trial, but far from all that happened this week, there were protests breaking out across our country, an active shooter in Mount Horeb, and the Bucks losing 6, and more. It's the Week in Review, brought to you by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
What we do here is go back.
That is the sound of roughly 100 protesters outside the library on UW-Milwaukee's campus.
A cardboard sign off the corner of Kenwood and Downer welcomes people to the Milwaukee Liberated Autonomous Zone.
We are here to stay, and we will not move until those demands are met.
Law enforcement officials are now dismantling tents at the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Things got a little tense this morning.
Hundreds of New York City police officers in riot gear moving into Columbia University.
As president, I will always defend free speech, and I will always be just as strong in standing up for the rule of law.
The LAPD declaring a citywide tactical alert last night as officers in riot gear responded to a massive crowd at UCLA.
Flashbangs being fired overhead. We've seen a few non-lethal rounds that have been fired at people.
Oh, look at that. Somebody just took a pallet to the head.
Unrest on campuses, it's kind of an April tradition.
10 years after his brother was killed, Nate Hamilton says his family still doesn't have justice.
Justice would have been, Christopher Manny seeing a day in court for us. Whether it was a good outcome or a bad outcome, I feel like justice still should be played out in the courtroom.
Oh, now we have some punches being thrown as Abner Uribe and Siri into it, and the Brewers are not having it.
I think it's best if I just don't say anything right now.
Rifle is recovered with the suspect.
624. An active shooter report at a middle school in Dane County, Mount Horeb Middle School.
The subject never gained entry to the school building during the incident, and the subject was a student in the Mount Horeb School District.
Our community stepping up to the plate to help support capital and operational referendums that allowed us to install safety measures.
The Drug Enforcement Administration is planning to recommend reclassifying marijuana from a Schedule I drug alongside heroin and ecstasy to a Schedule III drug.
It would not legalize marijuana nationally, but it would drastically broaden access to the drug for medical and research purposes.
Smoking some of that weed.
Former President Donald Trump scheduled to visit Waukesha today.
A packed
packed house filling up to the standing room only balconies at the Waukesha County Expo Center.
The choice for Wisconsin is simple. If you want lower costs, higher incomes, and an affordable American dream, then you have no choice but to vote for a gentleman named Donald J. Trump.
A mother and daughter were crossing the street at Teutonia and Vera when a black sedan struck them.
A person who got out of that car originally runs back to that black sedan, gets in, and speeds off.
Every now and then you get cars going up and down the street kind of fast, but I ain't never seen an accident like that.
That is just straight bullshit. That is straight garbage. It pisses me off.
There's cameras all around us. So when people want to do wrong, they didn't understand. You're not doing wrong in a bubble.
4 police officers killed and 4 others injured after trying to serve felony warrants in Charlotte, North Carolina.
The Marshals Task Force was made up of federal agents and other officers from the region.
Today we lost some heroes.
They will enjoy that sweet taste of victory while the Bucks will have to indulge in the exact opposite, a bitter pill to swallow after a season high in expectations comes to an end.
Yeah, Bucks lose 6 always. That's for the culture.
What a week.
Sleepy Joe.
Week. Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
It's 4:56 on WTMJ. We are going to get you to your sports, traffic, and weather coming up. And then people are headed to the bars this weekend. What might happen to bar hours in Green Bay during the NFL draft? People weigh in next.
Oak Creek Pet Food Company Stella & Chewy's names founder Marie Moody as interim CEO after the departure of its CEO of 7 years earlier this year. Moody founded the company in 2003 and has served on the board of directors for over 15 years. Marquette University launches an interdisciplinary real estate institute that will spur collaboration across its colleges of business administration, law, and engineering. The university is establishing the program using a multi-million-dollar gift from alumni. A new ownership group will take over operations of Nomad World Pub on Milwaukee's east side in the coming weeks, while Planet Hospitality will become majority owner of the Brady Street Bar. I'm Drew Dawson with MilwaukeeBusinessJournal.com on News Radio WTMJ.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
This report is sponsored by the Pfister Hotel. Make your reservations today. Visit thepfisterhotel.com.
For over 130 years, the Pfister Hotel in downtown Milwaukee has been delighting guests with impeccable service and luxurious accommodations. Celebrate your next special occasion with a stay at the Pfister. Enjoy fine dining at its acclaimed restaurants and pamper yourself with a service from the Well Spa and Salon. Experience the hotel's afternoon tea program or take in live music with the best views of the city from Blue, the 23rd floor cocktail lounge. There's always a reason to celebrate with the Pfister Hotel. Make your reservations today at thepfisterhotel.com.
Wisconsin is as hard-working of a place as you'll ever find. There's a sense of pride, community, and work ethic that's second to none. People here are tough, but even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. At Gruber Law Offices, we won't stop fighting for you and your family. We've been here and will continue to be here for as long as you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Hey, John Mercure here. I love Otto's Wine and Spirits. It makes me smile. Serving Milwaukee since 1945. It's where I buy my wine. It's where I buy my beer. It's where I buy my spirits. It's Otto's Wine and Spirits, employee-owned, friendly staff, 7 locations. They know what they're doing. They've got the best prices at Otto's. They've got the best selection. Open 7 days a week with several locations. Milwaukee, Menominee Falls, which is where I go. Elm Grove, Brown Deer, Cedarburg. It's Otto's Wine and Spirits. They are the real deal. Buy it at Otto's.
Abby with Abby Windows here. If I had $1 for every time customers said, all windows look the same, just give me a price. Well, if that's the case, then you haven't seen ours yet. You're right. Most windows have welds that are ugly, jagged, and look all stitched up, similar to wearing your shirt inside out. I call them Frankenstein windows. If you want a clean, seamless miter that's not inside out, enter our fine line weld technology. Trust me, you'll believe it once you see it. For the best looking window on the market, call Abby Windows today. And if somebody asks you if you know a guy in the business, you can say no, but I know a girl.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Nagging pain lasting for months, difficulty performing everyday tasks, not moving like you'd like, it's time to see the doctor. And I recommend Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Anytime I've needed care, the appointments are timely, no waiting weeks to be seen, and no pressure to have surgery. It's about getting the right diagnosis and choosing a treatment plan that fits your life. No question where I turn if I'm injured again. The experts in care at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. It's orthowisconsin.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
SemperFiRoofing.com.
There's a reason people sold to Grandview Homes instead of using a real estate agent.
We needed to sell Mom's home quickly and with a company we could rely on.
No showings, no closing costs, no added stress.
Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
I'm Brett Matschke, and you're due for service.
Ridgelawns. Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
While you're navigating the roads as quickly and safely as possible, if you see something we should know about, call the WTMJ Hall Mazda Traffic Tip Line at 414-238-9329. Breaking news as it happens. Stay up to date with your trusted and relevant source in news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ Milwaukee.
It's 5 o'clock. I'm Julia Fellow. This is Wisconsin's Afternoon News for Friday, May 3rd. Your top story, felony charges for protesters.
I'm Mike Spalding. The search continues for human remains.
I'm Debbie Lazaga. It's an ugly sight along 43 southbound. We're looking at close to an hour's worth of a ride from Brown Deer Road all the way to the Marquette. All this because the two right lanes are blocked just south of Hampton Avenue with a broken down semi. Delays stretching all the way back almost to Brown Deer Road. Then beyond that, we have a broken down motorcycle stuck in the right lane right about just south of North Avenue. And that is also going to be affecting your ride. Northbound side 43 slowing down from Fond du Lac Avenue all the way to Keefe, but that's pretty typical. Southbound 41 slowing down from Appleton Avenue down past Hampton. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight we have clear skies. The low will be 48 at the lake, 45 inland. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. There's a chance of showers and storms tonight. The high will be 60 at the lake, 73 inland. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, 4 protesters at UW-Madison arrested on Wednesday have been formally charged with felonies. All 4 are barred from being on UW-Madison property. Student organizers requesting that the district attorney drop those charges.
Those arrests stemming from pro-Palestinian protests. WISC TV's Maddie Heimish has an update from ongoing negotiations between organizers of those protests and UW-Madison administrators.
One of the Palestinian protesters at the negotiation this morning withdrew from negotiations until UW admin issues an apology for Wednesday's events. Administration offered a phone call later this afternoon to continue negotiations later today and a meeting tomorrow with lawyers present.
No word yet on the outcome of that promised phone call.
Not much progress made in negotiations at UW-Milwaukee. Student organizer Shamia Saeed tells WTMJ.
We had the Vice Chancellor of Diversity and Inclusion stop by and just chat with us a little bit. There was nothing that addressed our demands. We haven't heard much from the university except for when they decide to disperse the encampments, they'll send out a warning.
Support from the encamped protesters came from students at Marquette University marching to join the encampment yesterday. Shorewood High School students staged a walkout before also joining the encampment.
In Decision, Wisconsin, President Joe Biden is coming back to the Badger State. He's set to be in Racine on Wednesday, where he'll be delivering a speech. He'll also be attending a campaign event before heading south to Chicago. There's no additional details right now on where exactly the president will be. Does, though, mark his 4th visit to Wisconsin this calendar year.
Classes in Mount Horeb were closed today. Evening events will go on as scheduled. An attempt to bring back some normalcy after police killed a student with a gun outside of Mount Horeb Middle School on Wednesday.
The Mount Horeb Area School District will continue coaching staff today on how to fully support students, preparing for classes to resume on Monday. Wisconsin Office of School Safety Director Trish Kilpin talks about what comes next for the future of school safety.
We must simultaneously prioritize prevention
protection, having those secure entrances, mitigation, so when something happens that we're lessening the impact of that and we're reducing the trauma symptoms for our youth and our community, and then our response and our recovery are related to that.
Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Superintendent Dr. Steve Salerno credits safety measures, including multiple locked doors in the school's vestibule, with preventing a larger tragedy.
An update now into the death investigation of Sade Robinson. She was the 19-year-old murdered and her body dismembered in early April. New searches of waters near Wanamart Park this week found no additional remains. That news coming from the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff's Office today also clearing up what they're calling, quote, rumors on social media, including that the investigation is, in fact, continuing. Sheriff's Office also clarifying nobody was allowed inside of the suspect's home while multiple searches were conducted by investigators. That suspect, named Maxwell Anderson in Milwaukee, remains in custody in the jail in Milwaukee County on $5 million bond.
Milwaukee Film has a new president and CEO. It's a familiar face. Interim CEO Ann Reed, who has been leading the organization since the beginning of this year, will keep her top job. Reed tells WTMJ how she got the gig after retiring from her role from the Wisconsin Humane Society.
They were looking for someone to hold the interim time while they went ahead and did a typical search as you would do for a successor. And so there were some folks who knew that I had some relevant experience, I guess, and wasn't working. So that's how it came about.
Milwaukee Film Festival posting a 10% gain in attendance this year compared to last. The festival just finishing up last week.
Couldn't really ask for a much worse start to your weekend. The roads are a mess. We'll check in with Debbie on the other side of the break.
Setting Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 5:05.
Gene Miller here. Springtime. Better start thinking about those home improvement projects. Now's the time to call my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. Update your home's curb appeal and build equity with energy-efficient replacement windows and doors from brands like Pella, Anderson, Marvin, and more. Hometown can also customize your project. They're your local source for wood, vinyl, or fiberglass windows and doors. Stop into their newly remodeled showroom in New Berlin to see the Hometown difference. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. HometownWindows.com.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we get you the farm supplies you need because we get you. From feed to fencing supplies, we get you the right products at the right prices. Right now, Rewards members save $100 on a Balin Country Arch Gate with the purchase of 4 corral panels, 10% off assorted Krylon farm and implement paint, and 2.5 gallons of Gordon's liquid lawn and pasture treatment, just $39.99. We get you what you need because we get you at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
A Friday fish fry is a great Wisconsin and family tradition. I recommend the fish fry at the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club. WTMJ's John Mercure here. It's all you care to eat, and it's one of the best. All other dinners this weekend are buy one, get one free, including the pan-fried walleye, the pecan-crusted salmon, any seafood, steak and lobster, prime rib on Saturday, buy one, get one free. Desserts and that huge ice cream drink selection, buy one, get one free. I love it all. After a long week, relax with a hand-muddled old-fashioned. 20 bourbons and 100 wines in one of the 8 elegant dining rooms. The Fox and Hounds, just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the historic Holy Hill Shrine. The Spring Drive through the Kettle Moraine Forest is a Wisconsin must-see. And you'll love the award-winning all-you-care-to-eat Sunday brunch. Delicious. Step away from your kitchen. Visit foxandhoundsrestaurant.com. Enjoy a cocktail and a free dinner this weekend. It's the famous Fox and Hounds.
Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Times, 5:08.
We have some real problems with your afternoon drive. We want to get back to Debbie Lazaga. Debbie.
Yeah, it is a nightmare right now on 43. Unfortunately, 43 doesn't have the best alternate routes, to be perfectly honest. What we've got going on is a broken down semi blocking the 2 right lanes just south of North Avenue, and just about at Hampton Avenue. They've just about got that cleared, but we do still have the broken down motorcycle being hooked up onto a tow truck just south of North Avenue. So all this is creating a perfect storm right now. Delays coming in from well before Good Hope Road and stretching all the way down past Capitol Drive. We're looking at about a 57-minute ride from Brown Deer Road into downtown. That's going to be, on a good day, it's 11 minutes. So you do the math. So take it easy and try and see if you can avoid 43 at this point. You guys?
Debbie, did you say 57 minutes from Brown Deer Road into downtown?
Yeah, that's what my data is showing right now. It is pretty nasty. It is a long, slow crawl, slog, as it were, heading down past Capitol Drive. So hopefully that'll be gone pretty soon. In fact, they've removed the notification as to where this broken down vehicle was, or the semi was, south of Hampton. So things are going to start moving. It's just going to take a while for all that to start slinking itself out.
Thank you, Debbie. Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law offices. One call, that's all sports desk. I don't know if it's going to help you get your ride home if you're stuck in that 57-minute ride from Brown Deer Road to downtown. But the good news is the Brewers did win today. They topped the Cubs 3-1 to start a weekend series at Wrigley Field. Game number 2 tomorrow on WTMJ. Coverage starts at 12:45. The NBA season comes to an end for your Milwaukee Bucks, falling in Game 6 to the Indiana Pacers 120-98 on Thursday. We'll have some comments from head coach Doc Rivers coming up and the 5:30 news. The NBA, meanwhile, says it's going to be investigating Pat Bev. This after he had some interactions, less than desirable interactions with fans during the game last night.
Setting unlimited WTMJ News Time, 5:10.
Since 1955, Geist Garage Doors has been the trusted authority in Wisconsin. Hey, it's Greg Matzik. Don't let a busted garage door get you down. Give my friends at Geist a call. Doors and openers for every budget are available, and they'll even build custom designs to meet your exact needs. Check out geistdoors.com or call 262-784-4250. Or do what I did. Check out their amazing showroom in Brookfield featuring hundreds of doors, openers, and their custom design room. Wherever you are in southeast Wisconsin, don't think twice. Call Geist.
Don't think twice. Call Geist.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend. Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production. Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. This week, Marcus and his son Chris are joined by former Milwaukee Bucks point guard Brandon Jennings. Find Here District now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast.
There's only one store that gives you every possible choice in diamonds.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Wisconsin's afternoon news is on the air, broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Here are your hosts, Mike Spaulding and Julia Fellow.
356 days to Green Bay hosting the NFL Draft. But who's counting? Exactly. Jinx. All right, businesses are hoping to count more dollars. City leaders there are mulling the idea of extending bar time from 2 to 4 a.m., kind of like what we're doing for the RNC. They're thinking about that for next year. Brown County Tavern League wants to allow for outdoor spaces and parking lots to be open for restaurants to help the hundreds of thousands of people coming to the city. So in Detroit, they said that the attendance was about 775,000 people who showed up there. The economic impact of the NFL Draft, $165 million, it's estimated. So Green Bay businesses must set themselves up for success to see some green. So right across the street from Lambeau is Kroll's. And we talked to the manager, Julia Bernard, today about how she feels about hours possibly being extended and making some extra money.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but it gets harder for us because we're a family restaurant also with a bar. So for us, we're not used to working till bar close ever anyway. So for us, it would be very new. It would be an adjustment for that weekend. But, I mean, we're obviously going to be on board with whatever we have to do to keep the business going and make it a good weekend for all of us.
And she's cautiously optimistic about an economic boom.
I would say we're very excited and nervous, all wrapped into one little anxious ball. I'm excited to see what it does bring. We do assume that it's going to be crazy and good for our economic system, but at the same time, that's a lot of people coming to the Packers Stadium that we're not used to. So I think we're excited, but we're also nervous, just trying to be cautious.
And that, Mike, is why the Tavern League is hoping that they will boost transportation during the week so the draft can get everyone around safer, that maybe there will be more help, more job fairs to make sure that they're set up for success. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's great to be able to extend bar hours and things along those lines, but you also have to then provide that infrastructure, right, for not only restaurants to find more help, though I think it would be very beneficial to be open, But you're going to have to find a way to get up there. And that's what I'm really interested in seeing how it works, because we know how far and wide the RNC, for example, is having to look to find enough buses and transportation for delegates here. The NFL draft is like 4 or 5 times the size of what's going to be at the RNC. So in my brain, I think of what the U.S. Open looked like. I think of the Ryder Cup when they were taking buses from Milwaukee up north on 43 and things along those lines. So it'll be interesting, but you just hope that things aren't so overwhelming that these restaurants can really take advantage of it.
I hope so, too. The NFL draft is April 24th through the 26th of next year. The time right now is 5:14 on WTMJ. We're going to have Deb talking about Cinco de Mayo. That's this weekend coming up.
When we're out in your town, come say hi to us as we broadcast live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
Anytime you hear us when we're out on the road, you can find us live from our brand new mobile studio.
Whether it be Summerfest, EAA, Opening Day, Air and Water Show, wherever we may be, you can see us on the radio, live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
WTMJ.
Hey, John Mercure here for my friends at Dave Dregkamp Heating. When you experience temperatures 10 degrees below zero, more than 15 inches of snow, rain showers, and sunny days in the low 40s, all in a 3-week period, it can only mean one thing. You live in Wisconsin, and that prepared you to be ready for anything. Because here in Wisconsin, anything can happen with our weather. But fear not. For over 42 years, Dave Dregkamp Heating has lived here too, right by your side, ready and prepared for when anything happens. Spring, summer, fall, or winter, even when they all seem to happen at once. Whenever you're experiencing a home comfort dilemma, just call the teams I trust at Dave Dregkamp Heating. From free estimates for new equipment, routine maintenance to ensure your system is ready for anything, or because you simply have a question about your home comfort, call 262-367-2820. 262-367-2820. Dave Dregkamp Heating, because your comfort is their family's tradition. DaveDregkamp.com.
Tune in on Sundays at 10 a.m. for the AccuNet Mortgage and Realty Show. Join AccuNet's Brian and David Wickert for the most up-to-date information on mortgage trends, along with timely news on the real estate market. The housing market is in flux, but the national headlines don't often fit local market conditions. Find out what's really happening on the front lines of real estate and mortgage financing in Wisconsin and make better decisions by tuning in every Sunday at 10 a.m. The AccuNet Mortgage and Realty Show with Brian and David Wickert on WTMJ.
Traffic is sponsored by Sendix Food Market, your trusted local grocer since 1926.
Celebrate Cinco de Mayo this week at Sendix. Natural USDA Choice Black Angus Flank Steak is just $8.99 per pound, and fresh jumbo avocados are 4 for $5. Sendix, your trusted local grocer.
Traffic and weather. Hey, Deb.
Hey
How's
there.
that horrific traffic going on 43?
It is icky bad, and that's a technical term. We've got basically southbound 43 slowing down from well before Good Hope Road all the way down past North Avenue, where there is the dregs of the delays left over from a disabled semi that's stuck out in 2 lanes to the right, 2 right lanes south of Hampton, and then a broken down motorcycle that's getting hooked up to a tow truck just south of North Avenue. So that's going to be your ride on 43. On the northbound side, we are still seeing delays from Fond du Lac Avenue up to about Keefe. That's pretty typical for this time of the day, though. We've got westbound 94 slowing down from 27th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound's got some pockets of heavy traffic starting at 84th to Hawley, and then back on the brakes through the stadium interchange itself. And then on southbound 894, just before you get to the Hale interchange, you start hitting the brakes just south of Beloit Road, all the way around the Hale to about Forest Home. The westbound side heavy out of the Mitchell to 68th Street. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight is going to be fair. The low will be 53 degrees. Tomorrow will be partly cloudy. A chance of storms tomorrow night. The high will be 65. Sunday, get to see the sun. It'll be 62. Monday, partly cloudy, 62 as well. And Tuesday, scattered thunderstorms are possible with a high of 75 degrees. Another holiday, another excuse for a party. Or is it?
Here we go. It's another cultural holiday. So let's party. Break out the sombreros. It's time to celebrate Mexican independence. Yeah, that's a common misconception. But really, it's not that at all. In reality, Cinco de Mayo has significance to a relatively small section of the Mexican population. According to Marquette Department of History professor Sergio Gonzalez, it actually has to do with a battle.
Cinco de Mayo is a celebration that goes back to the defeat of the French army in 1862 in the city of Puebla, Mexico.
Think of it as one of those battles where the home team, Mexico, totally outnumbered, emerges victorious against the huge aggressor, France. Think Sparta versus the Persians at the Battle of Thermopylae.
This is Sparta!
Ultimately, they lost the war, though, but for people of Puebla, Mexico, it was a pretty big deal.
Since then, there's been a commemoration of this big battle on Cinco de Mayo, on the 5th of May. And throughout the country of Mexico and among many Mexicans, this is an important day. However, it is not actually Mexican Independence Day, as I think a lot of Americans sometimes confuse it to be.
Aha, so it's not what we thought. But still, we here in Milwaukee, of Mexican heritage or not, have never shied away from having a great time. So how has this one been celebrated?
Well, I think since the 1920s and 1930s, Mexican immigrants in the city of Milwaukee and across the state have held a number of different cultural celebrations. But again, the much larger celebration comes around September 16th, which is the National Day of Independence for the country of Mexico.
So we have yet another celebration to look forward to in September. For this Cinco de Mayo, head on out to your local Mexican restaurant like the Zocalo Food Truck Park on South 6th Street, or maybe other festivals like at UMass on South Chase Avenue, who's hosting a Cinco de Mayo festival this Saturday. There's even a restaurant called Cinco de Mayo Festival right on Morgan Avenue. Our own Libby Collins has the full interview with Professor Gonzalez this Sunday on Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News. Feliz Cinco de Mayo a todos! Debbie Loziga, WTMJ News.
It's 5:20 on WTMJ. We just got our hands on the criminal complaint of the suspect that is accused of a hit and run resulting in the death of the 4-year-old child and also hurting the mother, who is still hospitalized. We also have some stories in case you missed it with Mike and Deb coming up after this.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here for Annex Wealth Management. Boomers, Gen Xers, Millennials, it's time to talk to Annex Wealth Management. You've all got unique challenges, and Annex is ready no matter what your situation or where you are. Annex operates as one team. The financial planning team is in-house. Same with their investment, tax, and estate planning teams. I've used them all. Build security with a partner on your side for unbiased advice. Their goal is a plan that prepares you to maintain your desired lifestyle throughout retirement. You'll always have a local team working on your behalf. It is so easy to meet with Annex. They have branches throughout southeast Wisconsin, northern Illinois, and Florida. It is really easy to meet. If you want to meet online, that's no problem either. That's where Annex Everywhere comes into play. Visit annexwealth.com. Click the Get Started button today. We did that years ago. You can schedule your own appointment today. That's Annex Wealth Management. In your neighborhood, in your community, they're going to look out for you big time. Fee-only fiduciary, know the difference with Annex.
The sooner you address your joint pain, the better. You really don't want your pain to become chronic, to a point when surgery may become your only option. Address your joint pain issues early and calm down that inflammation and increase your mobility. Get the joints moving again and the blood circulating. That could be very beneficial. Plus, why not just feel better sooner? By coming to Rejuvenex, at the very least, we can alleviate your pain, so you can feel and move better to help you live a better quality of life. Don't you deserve at least that? Multi-joint treatments at Rejuvenex can cost as little as, well, nothing. That's because we are in network with almost all major insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid. So you really have nothing to lose, except a very good chance of living with a lot less pain. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
All Brewers games are on sale now. Coming up, a divisional battle with the Cardinals Thursday, May 9th through Sunday the 12th. Make your Saturday night plans for Star Wars night. Then take home a Mother's Day Brewers belt bag giveaway at the game on Sunday the 12th. Presented by American Family Insurance. Don't miss out on a weekend of rivalry baseball. Grab your seats at brewers.com/tickets.
Join Trees on the Move this weekend from 9 to 4 for our annual Mother's Day sale with savings up to 30% on selected nursery stock. Maples, linden, birch, ornamental trees, flowering crab, and all varieties of evergreens. There's over 20,000 trees to choose from. Our landscape architects will be on hand to answer all of your patio, retaining wall, and backyard questions. Call 262-679-5200 for more info or see treesonthemove.com.
From planning to planting, Trees on the Move.
524 on WTMJ. Happy Friday. We're so happy that you're with us. There are some stories that you miss.
In case you missed it.
And that's why we call it In Case You Missed It. All right, so mine is a little more serious, so we're going to turn down the music for mine again. Just a little bit. Sorry, Sam. This is the second time I've had to do this, Mike. All right, Mike, have you ever gotten a facial?
I have not.
Deb?
I have.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you heard of the vampire facial?
This sounds really bad.
It involves needles. You know that one?
I have heard of it, and I think I've seen it like on TikTok before.
Yeah, Kim Kardashian, her whole face was bloodied, and she loved showing it.
Why?
It looks like that scene out of Carrie. The Centers for Disease Control reports 3 clients in Albuquerque, New Mexico, contracted HIV from non-licensed businesses. Investigators found for 5 years disposable needles intended, that's why it's called disposable, for a one-time use were reused over and over. A vampire facial or platelet-rich plasma microneedling procedure involves drawing a client's own blood, separating its components, then using tiny needles to inject plasma back into the face, and it's said to rejuvenate the skin. The procedure can cost well over $1,500. So a strong reminder to always go to a licensed and reputable spa to get to go wherever to get this procedure and everything.
I don't think it's worth it.
Executive producer Tony wanted me to share this story. He's like, that's a good in case you missed it. I think it's a terrible story, but a strong reminder from the CDC. Make sure you go to reputable places that are licensed.
In case you missed it.
If you could, would you stay in, say, the house from Up? Or an Airbnb that has a danger room in it?
Danger room?
Anyone?
A panic room?
No.
So please define.
A danger room. So Airbnb this week unveiled what they're calling the Icon series of stays. And they do, basically, they take homes from X-Men. Say, if you wanted to stay in Xavier's X-Men mansion in New York. You wanted to sleep inside of the Up house. You want to go to the Ferrari Museum. You can get a VIP experience with Kevin Hart. Basically, they're like really enhanced opportunities to stay in places that up until this time were only figments of your imagination or seen on a screen. So, for example, if you're like me and looking to book the X-Men mansion right now, you can do so for $97 a person per night.
That's
you can stay. Yeah, you can stay in the castle in New York.
That's it?
Yeah, they have different.
Oh my gosh, such a deal!
It is. You can put Cerebro on, Debbie, if you're interested in doing that. I don't know what that would look like, or if you're ready to hang out in that way or not. You can go to the Beast's Lab. So basically, Airbnb is just offering these really catered experiences, like the ultimate glamping, or if you're a huge fan of a movie, and they're going to unveil these over the summer. I'm assuming you can, or they will be booked very quickly. You can start. Going now. You can start requesting your rooms now. They close on May 14th. They're only going to be open for a limited amount of time, but if you're interested in kind of an interesting summer vacation, this might be for you.
My old ringtone.
In case you missed it.
My ringtone right now is the old X-Men comic, so I'm super into that. All right, Deb.
All right. Well, in my job, what I do, and I've been doing it for many, many years, everybody always asks me, what are the weirdest things that have ever been crashed and dumped onto roadways? Well, this is what we've faced this week itself. Officials warn of traffic delays on Wisconsin's highway. It was I-41 right about at Pilgrim Road. Everybody knows where that is. And unfortunately, the freeway was closed down this week for a while. It's that broken down, or it was that rolled over semi that happened there. Guess what it was carrying? Miller High Life beer. That's right. the ultimate sacrilege here in Wisconsin. 2 lanes of traffic were closed for the cleanup. They had also to close all the lanes of traffic to get the later cleanup. So first they had to clean up the semi, and then they had to clean up the beer that was dumped all over the place. So that is one of the stories that I always talk about. This is a thing that can happen in Wisconsin. The other was a semi truck that was full of cheese that burnt up the freeway. So, yep, good times.
What a sight and smell. All right, news and traffic next.
Progressive presents 10 things on a contractor's to-do list that are harder than getting a commercial auto insurance quote. Bidding a new client, giving an accurate estimate, finding affordable materials, getting a client to pay you for work you already did, getting a client to pay you, period, securing permits and workers and tools, getting those workers and tools to work together, and finding the perfect pair of overalls. Pockets, baby. But the easiest thing on a small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you can save on commercial auto insurance. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
From big tailgate parties to cozy dinners for 2, the freshest ideas start with a stop at Century Foods. Now through Wednesday, save on 8.8 to 12-ounce selected varieties Kellogg's Kids cereal, 2 for $6. 6 to 24-ounce selected varieties Frito-Lay party-sized chips or dips, 2 for $9. 12-pack cans selected varieties Super Chill soda, $4.49. 64-ounce selected varieties Old Orchard juice, 2 for $5.
Hey, why'd you throw my glass across the room?
I have to keep practicing.
The vase from Aunt Sophie?
I'm warming up in case I get to take them out at American Family Field. Read this.
Win the ultimate baseball fan experience at Century Foods?
You either get to throw out the first pitch, hold the finish line for the famous racing sausages, or be on the field during batting practice. My new TV!
Just doing a little batting practice of my own.
The ultimate baseball fan experience. Return the entry form found in the weekly ad to any Century by July 24th.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
It's 5:31. I'm Julia Fellow. Your top story: details on the man accused of killing a 4-year-old in a hit and run.
I'm Mike Spalding. Tasty treats back at Capitol Drive.
I'm Debbie Lozica. It's better, but it's still a brutal ride. Southbound 43, we're looking at 35 minutes, Brown Deer Road to downtown. Delays stretching from just south of Brown Deer Road all the way down past North Avenue. Northbound's backed up from Fond du Lac Avenue up past Keith. Eastbound 94, riding in towards the Marquette, you're going to find delays from about 76th Street through the stadium. And the westbound side is going to be slow from 35th Street all the way to Hawley Road. And be our eyes on the roads. Report accidents, slowdowns, and road conditions to the WTMJ Hall Mazda traffic tip line. It's 414-238-9329. I'm Debbie Lozica with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight we have clear skies. The low will be 48 at the lake, 45 inland. Saturday, tomorrow, mostly sunny. You get to see the sun, but there's a chance of showers in the evening and storms. The high will be 60 at the lake, 73 inland. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, the driver accused of hitting and killing a 4-year-old girl on Tuesday this week, formally charged with 6 felonies. Donald Creighton's primary charge is hit and run resulting in death after allegedly killing Zakani Himes Wilson, and her mother was injured, has broken bones. There appears to be a previous relationship between Creighton and the mother and daughter. Surveillance video shows him running back to the scene to check on them before he drove off. The black Chevrolet Impala involved in the crash was found abandoned, and Creighton was arrested after a chase in a different vehicle.
An argument leads to a stabbing along the Riverwalk in Waukesha this morning. 2 men were arguing when one was accused of using a knife and a multi-tool to stab a victim in the chest and arms, also cutting himself as well. Officers were in the area, were able to arrest a male suspect about 4 minutes after that incident took place. Both men were treated at the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. Charges against that suspect are pending.
Tents remain up at the UW-Madison campus this afternoon as the fifth day of protests against the war in Gaza rolls on. WISC's Maddie Heimish has an update on negotiations between the organizers and university administration.
Student protesters told us the most that really came out of it was the promise of another negotiation tomorrow. Allegedly, campus leaders offered the presence of lawyers for Saturday's negotiation, hoping to find resolution before finals begin at the university. But students told us they were doubtful that their demands would be met then either.
This meeting would be pointless without disclosure of the UW Foundation's investments. Students remain firm that the only way to move this forward to our goal of divestment is with disclosure.
4 student protesters at UW-Madison that were arrested on Wednesday are now formally charged with felonies. All 4 are barred from being on UW-Madison property.
Here in Milwaukee, an encampment on the campus at UWM continues to grow near Downer and Kenwood. Students there saying they'll remain until their, quote, demands are met. The university's graduation is May 19th. That's about 16 days from now. One of the organizers there telling WTMJ that the end of the semester won't make a difference on whether or not they'll stay or go.
Yeah, I think that we would. I think that we might have to start thinking differently strategy-wise, but we would definitely still be here.
UWM's Dean of Students reminding them that camping is a restriction on state property, says it has nothing to do with the, quote, act of protesting, and that the encampment must end safely.
Food trucks returning soon to Capitol Drive. The City of Milwaukee License Division is now accepting applications. Food trucks need a permit to park in a certain zone, which covers Capitol Drive from 76 west to the city limits at Mayfair Road. The zone is designated parking areas for a limited number of food trucks after the Milwaukee Common Council imposed a temporary ban to address parking issues, obstructed vision for motorists, and cleanliness issues.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. The Brewers pick up another win this season. They top the Cubs at Wrigley Field today, 3-1. Game number 2 of that weekend series is tomorrow. Coverage on WTMJ starts at 12:45. An unfortunate end to the Milwaukee Bucks season. They fall to the Indiana Pacers 120-98 on Thursday. Bucks head coach Doc Rivers, though, says he's already looking forward.
Marquette roots and Milwaukee ties run deep for Bucks head coach Doc Rivers, who remains motivated as ever to bring another championship to a city that helped shape his career despite his team's first-round exit.
I probably wouldn't be here if I hadn't gone to that school. I'm going to do whatever I can for this franchise. And I really am. I think we can win. I'm going to do everything I can to create that because it means more to me than I think you think. Usually right after the year, you want to go take a break. I can't wait to get started.
Dylan Hunter Carter, WTMJ Sports.
Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 5:36.
Whether you're a local who wants to enjoy a night out or you're planning to visit Milwaukee, enjoy an artfully stylish experience at St. Kate the Arts Hotel. The hotel is ideally located in the heart of the theater district in downtown Milwaukee. With deluxe accommodations, culinary creativity, on-site galleries, and nightly live music, you'll enjoy every element of your stay at St. Kate. Book special hotel packages with room rates starting as low as $129 a night. Learn more and book your stay at stkatearts.com.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we get you outdoors because we get you. When it's time to plant and grow your dream yard, we get you the right products at the right prices. Like half off 1 cubic foot bags of Miracle Grow garden soil, 15% off all Longfield spring bulbs, 10-pound bags of KT nut and fruit blend bird food, $18.99. And with Mother's Day coming up, save $2 on premium and deluxe hanging flower baskets. Plus, visit our outdoor garden centers, now open at select Blaine's Farm and Fleet stores.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on WTMJ.
All right, let's get to TMJ4's chief meteorologist, Brian Isnansky.
Julia, Mike, what's up?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's a beautiful evening. I mean, there are many springs where we all just kind of say like, oh, we just jumped from winter to summer. We didn't really get much spring. I think like completely opposite this year. We've had a lot of really nice spring days.
Absolutely.
Including this week. It's been beautiful.
It has been. I mean, really much of April. April ended up being, a little bit above average, so nothing too crazy out of the ordinary. Average precipitation, just kind of a typical good spring month. And like you said, we've been really nice these last, several days. So for the most part, I think we keep it going this weekend. Watching a small chance for some showers and storms Saturday afternoon and evening, but most of the weekend should be dry.
Niz, before we get ahead and look at the weekend weather, which could get a little bit crazy, how are you faring after the Bucs game last night?
I mean,
right?
It was hard to watch. It really was in the afternoon. In the second half when they pulled away. I wonder, I know Dame is a special talent, but when a lineup was kind of playing really well without him and he kind of been out of the mold the last couple games, it's hard for these players to get right back into it. So I just wonder if, they would have been better off rolling with the guys who, played really well in game 5.
I know Vetrano's a big flag guy. He'll get the Brewers flag out, he'll get the Bucks flag out, he'll get the Packers flag out. Is there flags at the Niznansky home?
Yeah,
and at what point do you switch it out?
I'm switching to the Brewers flag. I should have did it already today. I just didn't have time. But yeah, I got the Bucks flag out. I'm going to be switching it to the Brewers flag very soon. And then obviously I'll get patriotic at times this summer as well. But it'll be highly Brewers and Stars and Stripes through the summer.
Game 7 would have been tomorrow, but there's a chance for hail tomorrow, no?
There is. I really don't. I'm not too concerned about the severe weather tomorrow. I think really we're looking at just little garden variety showers and storms, and just maybe enough to hamper anybody's outdoor plans. And then again, I think the window looks to be about like 4 in the afternoon until maybe 8, 9 o'clock at night. It's not going to rain that entire window. That's just the window as of right now, where it looks like this little narrow line of showers and storms could roll through.
You can't blame anything with the weather that's going on 43 right now. I know that you use
What's
it
going
every
on
day.
there?
From Brown Deer to downtown, it's like a parking lot. It's usually 11 minutes from Brown Deer to downtown. It's almost an hour. So it's good that you're not. It's good that you're not headed into work right now.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, that's pretty rough. I've encountered that before a few times. But
Me
you guys
too.
got big weekend plans outside?
Outside, no. We have the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association Awards coming up in Madison tomorrow,
nice.
so we're going to get suit and tied, which, for us on the radio is a little bit difficult to do, but we'll hope to win some there, and then hopefully on Sunday, a little peace and quiet, maybe with the turn the Traeger on, get some meat on there, but yeah. Should be fun.
Jason and I are going to be really, really cleaning and scrubbing everything down because Charles Benson is coming over to interview us next week, Brian.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So,
when Charles shows up, He's got to be spick and span.
I got to make it look good. All right, Brian, take us home. Tell me about the 7-day.
Okay, so clear skies tonight, low temperatures in the 40s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and that small chance for showers and storms late afternoon, evening. A high of 68 Milwaukee. Inland all the way up to 77. Now on Sunday, mostly sunny, 62 Lakeside, 70 inland. Monday, mostly sunny, 63 Lakeside, 70 inland. And Tuesday, mostly cloudy with some showers likely and a high temperature of 68. Very typical May forecast, guys.
Thanks so much, Niz. Appreciate you. Hoping for a nice weekend.
Yep, we'll see you guys.
Bye.
Later.
Have a great one. Hey, if you want to help us honor those who dedicate their lives to keeping us safe, please do so. WTMJ is highlighting first responders who went above and beyond this past year as part of Steve Scaffidi's Salute to Service presented by Waterstone Bank and sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited. You can nominate your first responder right now at WTMJ.com or in the WTMJ mobile app. That nomination period will remain open through May 10th. Finalists will be recognized during Hero Week on Scaffidi's show. That'll be May 20th through May 24th. Help us share your stories. Steve Scaffidi's Salute to Service presented by Waterstone Bank and sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Throughout history, some people have been born into greatness because of their name or family. Others gained greatness because of their actions. On Wisconsin's Morning News, we celebrate everyday heroes, the John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they woke up one morning they'd be saving a life. Everyday Heroes, Thursday at 6:40 on Wisconsin's Morning News, presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. I love my dogs, Bella and Baxter, an important part of our family. They're kind of like kids sometimes, and like kids, they weren't always listening, but I've got it figured out now. Thanks to Matt and his teams at Sit Means Sit Dog Training, our dogs are better behaved. They don't bark as much. They just listen better. They're happy, confident, obedient. Our house is a better house. Sit Means Sit Dog Training turned it around for us. Let them do the same for you. You can start with a free consultation. The website is sitmeansitwaukesha.com. Sitmeansitwaukesha.com.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
One of the best things about being in business for 25 years is having clients recommend AccuNet to their now adult children for help buying their first homes. That's how I connected with Dan and Allison, and let me tell you, they were fast learners. They quickly embraced our most powerful tool for winning offers, Appraisal Wiggle Room. Their first offer was $15,000 over asking and included a provision which AccuNet guaranteed they could afford to make, that they would still pay the higher offer price even if the appraised value came in up to $15,000 short. The result? Accepted offer versus several others on the very first try. And by the way, if the appraisal had come in $15,000 short, which it did not, Dan and Allison would have needed exactly $0 extra at the closing table. If you think all mortgage lenders are the same, think again. Go with a multi-generation mortgage lender that has the tools and know-how to help you win. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
There's an amazing supper club in Wisconsin Dells, Ish Nala, nestled among the pines and perched above the sandstone bluffs of Mirror Lake. The beauty, the history, the service, the food, the fun. Hi, this is Bob Prosser, owner of Ishnala Supper Club in Wisconsin Dells. I've been a part of Ishnala since 1973, and I am so proud to continue the tradition that began in 1953. Why not enjoy a brandy old-fashioned in one of our bars, each with a spectacular view overlooking Mirror Lake, or just relax before or after dinner on one of our outdoor decks. Our Ishnala chefs have prepared your favorites: 24-ounce ribeye, cold water lobster tails, North Atlantic salmon, and of course, Ishnala's roast duck. Thank you for making Ishnala Wisconsin's favorite supper club, where the only thing we overlook is Mirror Lake. I'm Bob Prosser, and I want to serve you.
Traffic is sponsored by TaybackAttorneys.com. Social Security benefits denied? Call Tayback for the payback. Unable to work due to health problems? Let Tayback help you get approved for the Social Security benefits you're entitled to. Call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
Such an important day to keep an eye on our traffic. Debbie, how's 43 looking?
Still a bit backed up, but a lot better. Now we've got delays just before Silver Spring. They are pretty solid delays, I might add, but they are at least down to Silver Spring, all the way down past North Avenue. Then it opens up. You're good to go through the Marquette. Northbound is a bit backed up right around the North Avenue curve up to Keefe. Pretty typical. Eastbound 94, a bit backed up from just before 84th Street through the Stadium interchange. Westbound side, clean as a whistle, all the way out of the Marquette, all the way to the Zoo. 894 westbound, we do have a little bit of a backup as well. Out of the Mitchell interchange to Loomis, and then you're back on the brakes basically from about 60th Street out to Forest Home. Both of those part of that construction delay there. I'm Debbie Lazago with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Get your fishing poles ready. Saturday starts the opening day of Wisconsin's fishing season. Milwaukee Journal Sentinel's Paul A. Smith has been covering the outdoors in our state for 30 years. Paul, thank you for joining us.
So great to be with you, Julia. Hello.
Thank you. So what makes Saturdays so special to anglers?
Well, Saturday is our traditional opener for the inland fishing season. It's always the first Saturday in May. And while many of our fishing opportunities are open year-round, say on Lake Michigan, you can fish all year on Lake Michigan, for instance. But our inland lakes have special rules on them for game fish, like our most favorite fish of all, the walleye. So it's closed down during the traditional spawning season for walleyes, roughly early March to early May. And then it reopens. So this Saturday, there'll be a spike of fishing activity as people get ready and head out for the traditional inland fishing opener.
Okay, and how do you expect the walleye activity to be?
Well, the prediction that I've heard from the biologists based on the way our spring went, the winter and spring, is that all the walleyes will be done spawning. And when that happens, when they're done spawning, they actually go on a feeding binge. So the fishing can be some of the best of the year after a fish has spawned, because they want to put some weight back on. I can't relate, and I'm not going to kind of get into, but the fish do want they feed more heavily in that period.
They've been very active. They need to reproduce here. It's a circle of life, right? They're really hungry.
So the prediction is for good walleye fishing this year. And, they're found in a lot of our lakes here in southeastern Wisconsin where they're stocked. And then in other waters where they're towards the north, there's more natural reproduction of them. But walleye opportunities should be very good for anglers this opener.
We have had some erratic weather. So how do fish react to that?
Yeah, do you remember how unseasonably warm our winter was?
Oh, yeah.
There wasn't that much ice formation. I know I had trouble getting on some lakes that I traditionally like to ice fish. But so it was warmer. Then we had a cold snap in March, too. So some lakes actually got ice on them again. But now lately it's been more normal. So I think that people are going to find pretty good conditions on Saturday, Julia. You'll be able to get action for panfish, things like bluegills and crappies, and bass too, largemouth and smallmouth bass. Things should be fairly normal for people on coming Saturday.
Perfect. What about trout?
We have a tremendous fishing in Wisconsin across the board, and our stream trout fishing is just outstanding. So many opportunities to fish in streams for brown trout mostly, as well as some brook trout. And you can find it throughout the state. The driftless area, the southwestern Wisconsin, is my favorite to go for stream trout fishing. But then we also have the Great Lakes, and there we're talking lake trout and steelhead or rainbow trout, as well as salmon species. So I am biased, but I don't think you can find a better state overall for fishing opportunities than Wisconsin.
We have the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel's Paul A. Smith with us, covering the outdoors. What's your favorite fish, Paul?
My favorite, Julia, this is tough. It's kind of like asking a parent their favorite kid, that kind of thing, because each of them has certain attributes that you may like or favor. But overall, I like, my favorite is the smallmouth bass. I just love it. It's a native fish here. They live in lakes as well as streams and rivers. You can catch them in the Milwaukee River here. There's some great smallmouth bass fishing very close in our biggest city.
All right, Paul, thank you so much for joining us on Wisconsin's Afternoon News. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Julia. And just one point for people, please have a personal flotation device with you when you go out on the waters. Have a safe time and an enjoyable time in the Wisconsin waters this weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Happy fishing. Yes. And by the way, I'm glad that he mentioned that. And the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources is warning, after you take your boats out fishing, dry them out. Why? Because there's invasive species, zebra mussels. They've been spotted in another Wisconsin lake just east of Eau Claire, in Lake Menemen. They are now all over our Great Lakes. Every single Great Lake we have. Lake Michigan, Superior, all of them. And according to the DNR, about 300 other Wisconsin lakes, wreaking havoc on our environment. So they take nutrients, filter out bad stuff, and leave cleaner water behind. So it's why you may notice why the water is super clean in Lake Michigan. You can see through it so well. Like shipwrecks are so easy to see now with drones. But they're too skilled, and they leave the rest of the native species starved, disrupting our ecosystems, which can affect our fish populations for us to go fishing tomorrow. Listen to this DNR warden.
What they do, they eat the plankton, the same food and the food sources that a new hatch of walleye would want to eat. They clean the lake up so the predator fish can see the small fish and actually destroy the new hatch.
The invasive zebra mussels even affect our infrastructure. They have no natural predators, Mike, so they could just go gangbusters. They clog everything, including the intake on your boat motors. So take a listen to this DNR warden.
And as a result, there's this kind of cascading effect through the food web where there just isn't enough available nutrients in the system to support our native species. But in addition, zebra mussels, especially in the Great Lakes region, have been pretty damaging on sort of infrastructure, so they can kind of clog up intake pipes on dams. And eventually, if they reach the point where they're really heavily established, they can do the same thing on boat motors, kind of clog up some intake pipes that way.
So if you're looking for them and want to know what they look like a small clam. And when it's an adult, it's about as big as your thumbnail. They take in nutrients and filter out the bad stuff, leave cleaner water behind. So make sure that you are looking. They're just too skilled, and they leave the rest of our lakes and ecosystem starved. So they also avoid eating blue-green algae. So that can create toxic blooms all around bad. So please leave your boat out to dry before you take it into another body of water. It makes a huge difference for our environment. By the way, you know how Minnesota says land of 10,000 lakes?
I do. I'm aware.
Wisconsin has more than 15,000 lakes.
The land of 15,000 lakes doesn't sound as good, though it is nice. It's like a humble brag. If you're on top, you don't need to continue to say you're on top. You just are.
I know, because Wisconsin's better.
Absolutely. Do you fish? Do you and husband get out there at all? And
my days of fishing were over when I was like 3 years old.
So no? That's a no?
Yeah. Do you want to know the story?
Yes.
Okay, well, I loved The Little Mermaid back in the day. Mm-hmm. So I had just watched it. I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I was fishing, and I saw like a little clam shell, and I started drinking the water. I'm like, look at me. And they're like, we got to put her on antibiotics now. So that was the end of my fishing career. How about you?
I enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoy the act of fishing, I think, more than I actually do catching a fish. So I enjoy going out on a boat. I grew up in a camping family, so it was always part of it. I'm a really early morning person, so I enjoy getting up, drinking a thermos of coffee on a boat, and just kind of sitting in nature and really being able to take it in. When I catch the fish, it's not my favorite thing, the mayhem that ensues a little bit, but I enjoy it. I enjoy being able to be out in nature, hearing nothing except for like ducks and loons and the sound of the water on your boat and things along those lines. But as far as like catching the fish, then eating it, I enjoy the eating process. Do not enjoy the cleaning process.
Right.
But I've explored a little bit since I've been in Wisconsin to get out on a lake and get out on a boat and just reconnect with nature a little bit. Yeah.
It does. It clears your mind for sure, especially early in the morning.
Early morning person. Well, you know how it is working on a morning show, the 4 o'clock morning, your alarm goes off at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it sticks with you even on the weekend.
Perfect timing. All right, it's 5:55 on Wisconsin's Afternoon News. I hope you have a great weekend.
Oak Creek Pet Food Company, Stella and Chewy's